told you? Who told you? Who told you? What? God design. Good morning, board buddies. Bang, bang. I hope that y'all had a great weekend and your Monday is off to a great start because, hey, listen, we don't get them second chances. You don't get many second chances. What's up, y'all? I'm your host, Jordan Pittman. If you didn't know what's going on, we talk about the dogs that we love, that we feel is the best breed on earth, on this channel, on this show, on this, all these different places that we go, YouTube, Instagram. Thank you. No matter where you joining us from, thank you for joining. I hope that y'all week is off to a very productive week. Guess what, board buddies? We had a wild weekend. I just got out the hospital. But the grind don't stop. We keep on going no matter what. You got to keep on pushing through no matter what type of trials and tribulations that you're facing. Remember, we talked about this weekend. We had a situation where we had a couple different situations. I wanted to fill y'all in on this Boerboels behavior. We got some videos that we're going to go over. So I'm going to share this with you. You can see exactly what I see. And then if you are a regular viewer on this channel, if you regularly watch our videos, this will clarify a couple of my positions. Why I say things about the dogs like, Boerboels shouldn't be protection trained or trained to do the bite work. They have a natural and protective instinct. I talk a lot about behaviors, how to manage and lead a pack efficiently. And then I also talk a lot about interpreting dog behavior. So you want to look at your Boerboels, you want to be able to read and recognize the way that dogs communicate. We're going to go over all of that in this episode. So I hope that y'all is ready for some great information. I hope that everybody is busy, active, and involved. But this should be some very good clues that you could use, some tools that you could use, some news that you could use to really further your perspective. So we're going to start off. Remember this situation. I had got a phone call from out in California. My people's one of my associates, California, Exotic Boerboels family, hit me up, let me know, hey, man, we got a major situation. He didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. And I said, we went through this kind of thing together. The dog was in California. Remember, my man was in the hospital with his wife. The dog he's a very well known in the neighborhood. Took his dog to, everybody knows the dog, right? The dog is a lover. He's a great dog. Everybody is hanging out with the dog, very comfortable with the dog, right? And you can see this. Let's get this video into the thing. So this is the very beginning. Well, this is the end. We're gonna probably go in the reverse order. Right here, you see that this is a very well tight-knit community. And this is one of the reasons why I say that you shouldn't do this protection training with Boerboels. This community is like, it's not a high-risk community. It's not a whole lot of danger involved. One of the positions that I always take is the likelihood of a situation presenting itself where your dog is going to have to bite someone is slim to none. When people come to your house and they see that you have this big, strong, powerful dog, they're looking for something easy. They don't want to have to overcome that. That's not going to be as easy to overcome. That's an obstacle, a serious obstacle. And it's really, remember, thieves in general don't want to work hard. That's why they're thieves. If they wanted to work hard, they could get jobs and they could do other things, that we do to work hard. But they want to just come up with it quick. So 9 times out of 10, this is point number 1. Oh, let me pause this. Okay, now this is the after effects. The lady been bit. You see the neighbors in the community. They very concerned. They coming over to her aid. You got another 4th neighbor coming up. You got 3 neighbors involved, micromanaging in the community. And there's nothing wrong with that. As neighbors, we want, you want to have neighbors that's vigilant, coming around, observative. That's a very strong community. And, there's nothing wrong with that. So here in this part of the video, you see the lady going to the house, right? She's going to the house, being neighborly. Now, just listen and pay attention, though. The way that she enters into this scene, is very important. Okay. We often talk about communication with the dogs, the way that you get them to understand. This is a very pivotal aspect in the development of any healthy relationship with your dogs. So this situation, just pay attention and listen, and then we'll stop and go back over it. Now she's just now got there. She's arriving. Listen. You hear her calling the dog's name, and then he now there's this here. This is in this part right here. After she's entering in the front through the front of the garage. Here's the dog. Now look at the way that the dog approaches with intensity. You see the tail is erect. The hair on the back of the hair on the back. Water. She's screaming water. Water. Now she's touching the dog. You notice that? Go back right here. Now, what she's doing unknowingly is green lighting the condition and mind state that the dog is in right now. She's telling the dog, look, you're doing the right appropriate response by petting him and reinforcing the mind state that he's in. What you're doing is supporting that position. So by her, watch, you'll see again. Look, she's saying water. That is not how dogs communicate. Dog, and then if you listen to the tone, it kind of sounds it's mixed signals. It's not a confident tone. It's not a commanding voice tone. So these things is you got to keep in mind. What are you trying to accomplish? You want to take control of the situation as a leader in the situation. And then because of the voice tone, it's not authoritative, it's not commanding, it's not demanding respect. It leaves some uncertainty. You give the dog a chance to question your leadership. So right off the gate, this is starting off bad. If you look at the way that the dog is positioning himself, watch it. Let's go a little further into the video. Now look at the dog. Look at the dog. He's stiff. He's very stiff, and he's looking and he's giving her direct eye contact. What are you doing? Now, at the same time, she had her hand on his back right here. You see her hand on his back? That's letting the dog know that you approve of his mind state and his behavior right now, and he is showing you the right thing. So a lot of times, especially with other people's dogs, you want to keep your hands to yourself. You don't need to be touching nobody else's dog, hugging on nobody else's dog, or loving on nobody else's dog. You gotta understand this behavior in everyday situations and interactions with dogs, especially particularly guardian breeds and other guardian breeds and protective breeds. You have to understand that. You have to understand that because they don't respond well to coddling and pray like voice tones, just all of this soft gentleness, calm, this high-pitched tones. They're going to interpret that differently, and I know that it comes from a place of love, and I know it comes from a place of kindness. But that is just hear me out, boy buddies. Dogs don't show respect that way. Dogs they don't communicate that way. Dogs don't do all of this sugar coating. Dogs don't do all of this brown. Well, maybe they might do quite a bit of brown nosing, but all of that sugar coating, is everything is clear in the communication. He's letting you know, listen, I do not approve of the way that you are conducting yourself. My parents aren't at home. I'm in control. I'm in command of this ship. It's my responsibility to protect things here. That is why I'm here. And because of that, the dog is saying, hey, you need to heed these warnings, understand these signals, right? So now that the lady is petting the dog, is empowering this dog and this is a 16-month-old Boerboel that's reaching maturity. Okay. He's coming into his own. Mom and dad are not there to give him signals as to cues. This is what you, this is what I want. This is the desired behavior. So the dog is left to his instinctual and his previous training. He has to rely on that. And when he's relying on that, naturally, territory, defense of the territory is a Boerboel's natural instinct to be somewhat suspicious of people. They look to the owner for the cues. When the owner is not around, he's going to have to make tough decisions. And he's normally, like I said, this caught everyone off guard because their understanding of dog behavior. You could have seen this coming. You could have seen this coming, and everybody would have been better prepared. I'm talking on this not to villainize the person that received the injury. I'm not trying to say you was wrong because you made a mistake or that you did something malicious. This is not about criticizing the victim. This is all about understanding, elevating, being better prepared, being better because at the end of the day, the dog is going to suffer because of this. Now, everyone in the neighborhood, we'll get to the short of the long story later on. But this could be seriously problematic. Think about this. This lady ended up getting bit in the head from a dog that has no protection training whatsoever. Let's go. Let's finish getting through the video. This dog has no protection training whatsoever. No guard training. He hasn't been agitated. Now look, watch that. Did you see that? She tried to make a move, and the dog took control of the position. As she approached her, she's around his foot. And then what did she do? Hug him up, and love him up. Exactly. Thank you so much for saying that, Al. Here we go. We got a question from Al. Thank you so much. Why would the neighbor enter her yard? She had good intentions, but luckily, another dog wasn't another dog breed. Luckily, it was a Boerboel. And see, I think, look at the dog position. She's fed him. Okay, now this is another neighbor. This is a previous day. Okay, look at the dog's tail position though. Watch. She makes a sudden move and the dog steps in. Look, no. He stops her from completing her path. He stops her right in the middle of the path, blocks her. So he's impeding her movement. That's a form of control in dogs. That's one of the things that dogs do to assert themselves as who's the leader. The leaders of the pack control the movement. So by her making a move, the dog stepping in and impeding her movement, he's controlling the situation. In his mind, he's saying, okay, I'm in charge here. And then what does she do? By offering excited praise, she's confirming that position that he's taking. So she's letting him know, yeah, you are in charge. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great thing. And this dog, his tail is stiff as a board. Look at his erect posture. He's saying, listen, I'm not comfortable. Just give me some space. And she's telling him, good job, good job, good job. And that's reinforcing the behavior. So what we're trying to aim for is better understanding. When we're talking about Boerboels in particular, this is what I talk about. Now imagine had this dog been protection trained. Right. He didn't know what to do. He did not know what to do because he has no previous conditioning to reflect on. This is all instinctual. He doesn't have any previous information to reflect on. He doesn't have any training. Remember, this dog has just been socialized. He's a neighborhood dog as a pet with new owners. They're not experienced dog breeders or lifelong dog owners, right? They, especially with a protection breed. So this is all new to them. They send their neighbors over to come through to check on the dog. because they're concerned about the dog when they're away. They don't want them to just be alone, destroying the house, tearing things up. But you have to be aware and mindful and conditioning the people that's coming over there about this, and hopefully someone will see this and they'll be able to be better prepared for the situation present itself in the future. If he bit her, he did good, but training is always good for the type of breeds you want to ensure. Okay, well, yeah. Now we're gonna get to that. Now you see that rubbing him down. Dogs don't communicate with all of that happy, oh, high pitched voice tones, rubbing and hugging and loving. If you watch dogs, the way that they interact, it's a lot of posturing and positioning, maybe roll over and flip around his back, a lot of tail wagging, but it's primarily the language and the way that the dogs communicate is through body language, gestures, not a whole lot of talking though. So here's another neighbor coming in. Unknown call. Right, we got another neighbor approaching. And look, now listen, I don't know if you can hear this good, but listen. Now, the dog, look at the dog's position. Okay, he comes in. Let's watch it again. He's gonna come in. Now look at this dog is giving. Look at the dog. The dog is tense, right? He's kind of saying, "What are you doing?" He's doing observing. Look at the tail. Not only is he stiff, but he's leaning forward as to assert himself and say, "Watch him." He's gonna lean forward and he's trying to get big. Look at him. He's not backing down. And then the man sits the water down. Now look at this hand position. He says, "Sit." That's what he said. And now he's easing about that situation, which was good. He was using his good common sense. Good morning. He's using his common sense. Now he starts to back away, easing away, backing away, getting out the way. Now this neighbor respect the dog's space. Look at the dog. Look at the dog. Uncompromising. Uncompromising. That was a win for the dog. So in his mind, right, he has took leadership of the situation. He has took control of the house. He's pushing people around. They're responding to the growl. They're respecting him. Everybody wants to be respected. Everybody wants to be regarded as powerful, regarded as important. So he's asserting himself. He's injecting himself in a position of authority, which the dog does not really. He's not the leader. So the neighbors, the new owner, the neighbors, the correct way to handle this situation would be to just come straight in and not try to persuade the dog. Maybe best to be even ignore the dog, not give him as much eye contact, as much attention. Make it where, you're doing your role irregardless of the dog. The dog is not really as important, and it's hard to do because the dog is a living being and we love dogs. We want to interact with dogs, but you have to understand about respect. You don't just be hugging on dogs and loving on dogs like that until they earn it. They have to earn that. And if they don't, it becomes cheap and it becomes worthless. So if you hugging on your dog, loving on your dog, rubbing on them all the time, then what happens is they start to lose respect for you. Or your reward doesn't have the same value because you're giving your rewards up all the time. Praise, admiration, your dog is always going to be seeking that. It has to be earned. Now, by giving this dog this space and territory, he's commanded this control of this situation, of this scene. Let's go into this next example. Now, this is towards the end. Again, you see the neighbor here is trying to play ball with the dog. I would have got the heck out of there. And the dog is not even interested in the ball. If you look, watch, she takes the dog. Here we go again. Now we got some tail wagging going on, right? We got tail wagging. This is outside of the garage. Again, be mindful of the space that you are in, right? With them being away and out of the garage, the dog has space. He doesn't feel as confined. And when you have a dog, that's why it's very important to do off-leash interactions. Because when a dog feels confined, when a dog feels backed up in the corner, what happens is you activate the fight or flight behavior. Either the dog is going to respond timidly or aggressively, but you're forcing that reaction on the dog. When you're outside like this and you got plenty of room and plenty of space, then that doesn't have, the pressure isn't there, the stress isn't there. That form of stress being confined in this area. So all of these things are influencing this dog's behavior. And like I said, I would have approached things very differently. I wouldn't be doing all of this talking. I wouldn't be there to play. I'm not here to play. I'm here as a leader to provide resources. So I would come through, give the dog his rations or stuff. I wouldn't be doing any talking to the dog. I wouldn't be trying to coddle this dog. I wouldn't be trying to play fetch with him, right? Because remember, it's not your dog. It's not your. It's not your. That's not your role to play. So we go over it one last time. Now she's outside. She done got bit. She got the neighbors there involved. Everyone's concerned. Here's another neighbor concerned. And at the end of the day, this puts a real dark cloud over the dog. And had this video not been available for people to see, you might get the wrong impression that the lady just went over there to give the dog some water, gave the dog some water and food, and then he viciously attacked her. But that's a failure in communicating the true message of the situation. She's screaming water, water. This dog don't need. This dog ain't extremely thirsty like that, right? And look, we're trying to convince the dog. Look at the dog take control of the space. And then we're gonna rub them up and love them up. That's reaffirming that's encouraging this behavior indirectly, unknowingly, that you don't know. You're encouraging the behavior. When we talk about Boerboel instincts, this is what we're saying. Now, imagine had this dog, look, again, another neighbor, the dog is commanding control of a position. So with that being said, I'm just trying to give y'all some valuable information, some ideas, some things that you can understand. You gotta assert yourself. You gotta take control. And if you don't, these accidents happen. But all it takes is a little bit of better understanding. I think that you will further your development and your relationship with your dogs and other people's dogs. Now, she took that and threw that down, and it's almost like she was not that she was throwing it at the dog, but this hand raised high in the air, and then this is like an aggressive assault like type of position when you got your hand raised and then you launching things down there. Just being mindful, war buddies. I just try to give y'all some valuable insight. Why now? Had this dog been protection trained, yeah, she lost a little bit of her scalp, and you see they say it was blood at the back of the neck. Had this dog been protection trained or seasoned in the bite work, she probably would have been a fatality, in all honesty. Because think about the power, the intensity, and then it was just her there and the dog. And you see the dog is strong, the dog is assertive, and he starts taking his head and twisting the dog's body. The dog's mouth is designed for removing tissue from the bone, tearing flesh. And we're talking about animal hides, not human flesh, soft flesh. Human flesh is soft. So just keep that in mind, board buddies. I hope that y'all gained some insight from that. I hope that y'all picked up some good information. Again, why I take some of the positions that I do. It's not about being cool. I got some references for y'all if y'all like to get some reading materials. I'll include in the chat some books that I recommend that I use. But the key points though is really just understand dog behavior, be mindful of your actions, heed the warnings, watch the signals, look for the signs, not just in dogs, in life. Because oftentimes before things happen, there are signs. I hope that y'all enjoyed this. We're gonna be back. We're gonna be going in often, giving the best that we have. If anybody have any questions, I'll take them now. I'm gonna read some of these comments. My dog says, my dog is only aggressive to my stepson. He stays in the house but only deals with the dog sometimes. The dog bit him 2 weeks ago after petting him. How would you deal with this? Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. So I would put the dog on a leash. I would take the dog for a walk. I would try to set up the situation that caused the dog to bite. And then what I would do is let my dog know that this is unacceptable. This behavior is not going to be tolerated. I will be looking for the slightest indication that the dog is getting ready to engage or that he feels like he's dominant or he's in control of the situation. I got another example that I'm going to use this weekend. This time it was my fault that somebody got bit. It was a crazy weekend. And I think that the stress of it all took a toll on me. But yeah, yesterday someone else got bit, and this was my fault. A Feeny bit someone, and I didn't have the proper tools. I had the dog out with a big, thick buckle collar on versus my normal training collar. I had my leash on the dog, so the dog was leashed, but it was only a half a leash. They had bit the leash in half, so I only had half a leash. And I also share that situation because at the end of the day, boy, buddies, I'm not perfect, and I'm still learning, and I make mistakes, and I want y'all to know that it's okay to make a mistake. As you grow, and in your growth, don't be too hard on yourself. If you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. But more important is that you learn from your mistakes. Let your losses be lessons. So if that was the situation with my person, like with my dog, got somebody in the house that they're not necessarily getting along with or respecting, then that's what I would do. I would try to recreate that situation or them circumstances, the context of what it caused it to occur, and then I would check my dog. If it displays inappropriate behavior, I would be looking for a desired behavior, and then I would praise that response. So, there's a number of components to that sequence of events, but praise, that's why it has to be measured. It can't just be free flowing and forever giving. Squeaky toys is cool. Now, again, with the toys, you got to remember they're simulating prey. So when you start to use these toys, you're kind of conditioning your dog to chase, go get, and then with these high pitched noises and stuff, triggers the dog. These high pitched sounds trigger the dog. When you start sounding like a prey item or a prey animal, this is what you end up with. So if anybody have any more questions, we'll cover the questions. But if not, I'm gonna pull off and I'm gonna catch up with y'all a little bit later. We're gonna get busy with these edits and stuff, and then I'm gonna run around I gotta still go out to the country today. I gotta make some phone calls. But at the end of this, if you would like to learn more about caring for your Boerboel, check out our ebook. It's got a lot of great information there, and it's specifically related to Boerboels. You can get that. I'll post the link in the chat. But yeah, you can get that ebook from our website. I'm gonna post the link. You can hit that. I highly suggest all Boerboel enthusiasts, that I'm gonna post this link up. How do I do this? Hold on. because I want y'all to have this resource. I put a lot into this book, and if kids are around, I don't think that has as much of a factor, but I think that like I said, you just have to understand what it is that you're doing. This is a link to my ebook, y'all. You just need to understand what it is that you're doing and the messages that you're conveying. So, yes, you can do this. You can do all of these things with children around, but you have to be mindful. And that's why I recommend, here go a couple of dog books that I'm gonna throw these in there. This was a great one. The Other End of the Leash. And remember, I always say this, that the leash is your direct connection to the dog's brain. It brings you together. Your leash is like the glue. It bonds you. And you got to use that to communicate to the dog. It's your number one communication tool. Let me see. I had another question, Auntie Jen. Thank you so much for these really good questions. Talking about high-pitched noises and praise. High-pitched noises, it's just an indication of like play. It's not something where the dog is going to respect. What's up, family? Yeah, that's a good observation there, Zena. Yeah, definitely. The high-pitched voices, though, you got to remember the sounds, the natural sounds in the wild. So you got to think, always present yourself as an authority. Always present yourself as a position of power. And then a lot of this, what goes on with dogs and animals in general, is psychological. You are the ultimate at the top of the food chain of any animal on earth. I'll catch up with y'all. Stay productive. These days, these memories, these minutes, these moments, we're not going to get them back. Make the most of them.
No rush, go on, move dumb. Back and forth, push and shove. Make your peace and love turn to peace and gloves. Now you got a deal run up.